Welcome back to Sports and Spirits. It's another incredible episode forecasting everything that's coming up in the world of sports for this week. This is week 11 of the NFL.
Yes, it is. It's crazy how fast it's moving.
It's crazy. Before we get into any of that, why don't you take a quick second to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and go ahead and follow us on all our other platforms like Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and even X.
Yeah.
Later in the episode, we're going to dive into the spirit of the weekend. And that's this brand new offering from Jack Daniel's, the single barrel heritage barrel. This is a toasted barrel offering from our friends down there at Jack Daniel's, and it is a banger. If you want to learn more about that, you could check out Rare Barrel Whiskey. Did a nice review on this bad boy, and I can tell you, it's delicious.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll get into more of that later in the episode. But without further ado, let's hit the NFL.
Let's do it. Yeah, so to start off, you got your Thursday night matchup. You have the Patriots hosting the Jets.
Whoo!
This is one of those, but the division matchups, these games get played closer than they look like on paper.
Yeah.
Like on paper, obviously, with how hot the Patriots have been this year, and this could be one of that could be, maybe relatively lopsided, with how banged up the Jets are. But
Truth.
Could be one of those that, we obviously don't know the weather at the time, and it could be one of those where it's real cold. It could be a low scoring, field goal matchup. But I do think that this is one that the Patriots should hopefully get the job done.
Forecasts show that this is supposed to be a pretty bitter, cold, and very snowy winter.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
All bets are off on what kind of weather they're going to have.
True. So, but we'll see. Either way, it'll be one to tune into, being your only game on the docket for the NFL on Thursday. But
Patriots are on a big win streak, averaging 28 points per game since week 7.
Yeah, pretty good. 7 in a row. So they're a team to look out for sure.
No doubt.
But yeah, let's.
We're going back overseas?
Yeah, this new location this time.
First ever?
Yeah, first ever.
Wow.
Got an international game in Madrid, Spain.
Hot dang.
Yeah, it's crazy stuff what we're living in. We're seeing some games all over the globe right now. It's pretty cool.
It is pretty sweet.
Yeah, you have the Dolphins taking on the Commanders. And probably a not so great international game.
We're sending them a dud.
Send them a dud. I mean, going into the season, this looked like a totally different matchup, probably
sure.
on paper. But nonetheless, it'll be cool to see this game, in Spain. And obviously, if you're watching this here centrally located, as we're based in Minnesota, that'll be your early slot on Sunday at 8:30. So you'll have another, full-fledged day of football on Sunday, which, to me, no complaints.
You just wake up,
yep,
roll out of bed, find your spot on the couch.
Yep, just tune in.
Make sure the snacks are plentiful.
Yep.
Just keep on grinding through all the games.
Yep.
And if it was anything like last week, it was pretty exciting.
Yeah, it was a really good game.
Part.
Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, I don't see these teams being as competitive on paper, but the game itself will probably be a little sloppy, but nonetheless, it should be a close one either way.
Right. Where are they playing? Is that soccer field type thing?
Yeah, very similar. Yep. But yeah, either way, it'll be pretty cool. And then let's just talk.
Let's keep going. Let's talk about our boys.
Yeah, let's do it. You got the Vikes hosting the Bears, obviously coming off a very tough loss to Baltimore this past week.
Yep.
This is a big matchup. This is a very good division. Bears have won 5 in a row. They're 6-3 on the season. The Vikes are, fighting for their playoff lives, really.
Yeah.
I mean, this is almost a must win. I mean, if you lose this game, you might as well chalk it up. This season's done. So this is a really, really, really important divisional matchup because I think the Bears, honestly, are a team to watch out for. I mean, they could sneak up and just come from all the way from worst to first in terms of in the division. So it's going to be a great game to watch. It could be one of those that determines which teams make the playoffs this year.
So here's a question.
What's up?
McCarthy and Williams, coming out of the same draft class.
Yep.
Which quarterback would you rather build your next 5 years around?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, obviously we've seen a lot more out of Caleb Williams.
Yep.
Obviously he played all last year, and then this year he showed some glimpses of being kind of special. Obviously McCarthy, we're going into, game 5 of him this week. I think athletically, Caleb Williams obviously being the number 1 overall pick.
Yep.
You gotta. I like the odds of what Green Bay's doing around him.
Sure.
But very similar build here. I mean, with what we got going around. My concern, honestly, this year, as a Vikes fan, but also just a football guy, we haven't utilized the tight end.
Yeah.
At all.
Oh, true.
Hawkinson has pretty much been a non-factor.
Right.
And
I drafted him thinking he was going to be quite a factor.
yes. And for fantasy, yeah,
For fantasy.
right. But even just logistically, like I think that's the difference. Like you see Chicago's got Colston Loveland, Cole
Right.
Kmet. They have guys that are up the middle that are, take some pressure off the quarterback.
Yep.
Whereas we have TJ Hawkinson, we have a guy there that can do that. We haven't utilized him.
No.
So quarterback wise, my answer in playing is probably Caleb Williams.
Yeah.
I think the upside is higher.
Okay.
I mean, he has the ability to, be a potentially an MVP type quarterback by the end of his time in the NFL.
Yep.
Whereas McCarthy in the system could be. I don't know yet. So I guess as of right now, my answer is Caleb Williams, but that could change as of Sunday. That could change by the end of this season.
Yeah.
What happens if JJ McCarthy says, you know what, and then wins like the next 6 or 7 games in a row?
Crazy.
And if he does that, then it's like, you know what, let's ride the hot hand. I'll take him. You know
exactly.
what I mean? So that's the thing. That's the hardest part. Everything ebbs and flows in the NFL, and it changes on a week-to-week basis. So
That's
good question.
crazy.
Good question nonetheless.
Let's talk about the Bills a bit.
Yeah, the Bills, obviously coming off a devastating loss to the Dolphins.
On that note,
Yeah.
are they still a Super Bowl contending team, or is this just a good roster stuck in neutral?
I think you put it perfectly. I think they're a great roster stuck in neutral.
Yeah.
I think that's put perfectly. I think the only way to describe the Bills to me is that they're the team that it's like I almost can. I almost
Right.
will.
Yeah.
I might.
You
I
can
could.
hear this. You can hear this really awesome engine revving, but
Yes,
it's just not
like,
going
it's just not starting. It's
Yeah.
just, and it stems back, and this is just maybe I might be one of the few guys on it. I don't believe Sean McDermott is a Super Bowl winning coach.
Oh, sure.
And maybe I'm the only guy that believes that. Clearly, I'm not the only guy because obviously Buffalo believes he's their guy because he's kept him
Right.
around. But I do think that the reason they're not going to go anywhere is his decision making as a coach. I mean, the players speak for itself, and then they made no trades
Right.
at the deadline.
Right.
They have no receivers. They have none. I mean, they got Khalil Shakir, sure. That's not a wide receiver one in today's NFL.
No.
Go get a guy like Chris Olave from
Yep.
the Saints, if they had him up for sale, or, Jacoby Myers like the Jacksonville Jaguars did. Go get somebody.
Yep.
Go do something. So I'm just concerned with their depth at receiver, and then Dalton Kincaid's got a little hammy issue, which is not great because he's been his best reliable weapon.
Yep.
So point blank, I think the Bills are obviously a playoff team.
Yeah.
I don't have them as a Super Bowl contender anymore.
Right on.
3 weeks ago, we were talking about they're the favorite. I don't even think they're the best team in their division.
That's crazy. The 3 week span. They just went from
Super Bowl to not even winning their division. I don't see them winning their division at all. I think the Patriots win their division by 2 or 3 games.
Yeah,
That's how
oh,
much
yeah.
better I think they are than the Bills right now.
and their record is just going nuts
Yeah.
anyway.
So-
they're proving it over and over.
Well, the reason why we're talking about, obviously, the Bills are hosting the Bucs in this game, and this is a big game for both teams. Coming
Yep.
off some tough losses and just trying to get back in the win column. That's
Yep.
all you can do in the NFL. It's how you bounce back, and I think that stems on what separates a good team from a great team.
Right.
And this is going to be a big one either way because the Bucs have had some tough losses this year because they just have a really tough schedule.
Yeah.
With all their especially with all their injuries they've had. But if they could pull off one here, that'd be huge
Yep.
for the rest of the remainder of their season. I don't think either one of these teams we'll be talking about in February as Super Bowl teams.
No.
So, but either way, they're both fun teams to watch. Josh Allen, Baker Mayfield. I mean, that's going to be a fun one to watch in terms of on TV. Bills might get the win in this one, I think. But, I mean, either way, it'll be a fun one to tune into.
For sure. Bengals Steelers.
Yeah, Bengals Steelers. We saw this game a couple weeks back. It was a thriller.
This is a classic AFC
Yeah.
North
This is-
rivalry.
Yeah, it's obviously rivalry game. Obviously, it's looking a little different than we saw in year past, but we talked about the old men dueling it out a couple weeks back.
Yep.
It was definitely one of those games you didn't see coming that ended up being a really high-scoring affair. I don't see why it wouldn't be the same.
Right.
I think the only thing that could bar that would be any kind of weather ailments in
Yeah.
Pittsburgh. Other than that, I mean, I think you could see a very big game again from Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Chase Brown, Joe Flacco. He's one of those guys that, off your waiver wire in fantasy football anyway, if you picked him up, he's been very serviceable for you.
Yeah.
If you've had some injuries at quarterback, I mean, probably the biggest letdown in all of fantasy this year has probably been, Brock Purdy.
Yep.
He's pretty much played like a game and a half. And, if you picked up a guy like Joe Flacco or Sam Darnold in that time, you're doing all right.
Right.
You could have another big one.
I mean, Joe Flacco and the Bengals are averaging 30 points a game since week 8.
Yeah, we talked about it. Remember the stat where they had scored 40 points in back-to-back games and lost both?
Right.
First time since 1966. Like, is that crazy? So either way, it should be a fun one to tune into, and there's obviously a lot of stake on the line because both those teams are battling in that tough division. So that's a big game.
Steelers are ranked to win +9.
+9, huh?
Whew.
I don't know. I might take that line.
You might take it.
I might take that line. I like the Bengals with that line for sure. Either way, this has got to be the game of the week.
Here we go.
Afternoon slate.
A little bit of chickens.
Yeah, a little bit of the Sea Chickens. Seahawks going on the road against the Rams. This is a matchup for the NFC West.
This one I'm liking.
Yeah, there's no way I'm missing this game.
Yeah, I'm tuning in for this bad boy.
Yeah, if I got to do yard work, I'm doing it beforehand or after. I'm just not missing this one. These are powerhouse teams, both potentially Super Bowl contenders, definitely going to be contenders in their division.
Yep.
Offense, defense, great. This is going to unquestionably be the one to tune into this week, and I just can't wait, honestly. I know we get to see them twice before this season's over. This is once.
Yep.
Not a game I'm missing.
No. Not with Stafford averaging 315 yards a game and 3 TDs at home.
Yes, it's. I told you, like, forget the bad matchup or whatever you want to think about the matchup.
Right.
I'm putting them in with confidence.
Yep.
The only thing to monitor, we'll see as the week progresses in terms of Devontae Adams' health. That does change some things in terms of their passing game volume.
Yep.
He went down with a little bit of a chest injury in this past game, so we'll see what happens with that. But nonetheless, something to monitor as the week progresses.
The only drawback would be the Rams. Also, another drawback would be the Rams allowing 1.5 sacks per game in the last 4.
Yeah.
But doesn't seem to have phased Stafford at all.
He was the most sacked quarterback for his tenure
Right.
when he was in Detroit.
Yep.
So not something he's not accustomed to.
Yeah, he knows what to do with it.
He knows how to
Shake
get
it
back
off
up
and get into it.
Yeah. So
And 1.5 isn't bad.
yeah,
That's not horrible.
That's not terrible. I've seen worse. Their defense is putting up more than that on the other side,
Yep.
so they're making the other quarterbacks even worse.
Right.
So, not to like overshadow what else is going on in that afternoon slate. You have the Broncos hosting the Chiefs.
The Chiefs.
That is definitely going to be a game.
Man, the Broncos and Chiefs. That's 2 really good games right
Yes,
there.
yeah. So you're going to be going back and forth, probably CBS, Fox, or Super
Dang.
Fox, whatever you got at home. But that'll be one to. I mean, the afternoon slate. Forget the noon slate. Let's just watch those 2 games. You're going to be happy on the weekend. So that one would be probably, in my opinion, a little bit lower scoring, just because you got 2 really, really good defenses.
What's up with Mahomes though?
Hey, what do you mean?
He's like quietly having like the worst season he's had since 2019. It's like he's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
But he's been better.
Sure. Yeah.
Like a lot better.
Yeah. I mean, true. I mean, you look at some of his stats the last couple of years, it's been kind of riddled with some injuries and guys going down. I think he's actually played really good this year. I mean, some of his numbers might not suggest it in terms of like maybe his touchdown volume or anything like that, but he's also been explosive on the ground, which you haven't seen in his career, and so
maybe it's just a different look that I'm not used to.
Yeah, it's totally a different look. I agree with you there. I mean, you're seeing him scramble a lot back there, and they're relying on him a lot more than they've had in years past in regards to moving that offense because their run game has been very weak.
Got it.
They've had some good running backs in the past, that have helped drive that force home for them.
Yep.
But I think it's just because we've become so accustomed to him being so special.
Right. Yeah.
That, like, even when he plays well, we think he's just playing okay.
Yep.
It's
That's true.
that almost that like mirage of like what's happening situation.
Right.
Like we just see it and go, oh, he only had like 250 passing yards and 2 touchdowns. Oh wait, that's a good game.
any normal
quarterback would be like, that's awesome. Yeah.
I think it's maybe it's the hype of all these Super Bowls he's been to in the last couple of years. So it's like I feel like this guy should be playing here,
right? But
he's playing at a really good quarterback level.
Yeah, I mean,
either way,
fantasy or not fantasy.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a top 5 quarterback in both. I mean, as long as he continues to lead the push for them, the Chiefs will have a very good chance at potentially winning that AFC. I don't care if they have to play at home on the road.
Yeah.
When it comes to playoff time, that's the best quarterback.
That's when they turned it on.
And so that's the thing that we talk about. We got some of these teams that have some really good records. Obviously, Chargers, Broncos.
Yep.
I like my odds of Mahomes against any of those 2 quarterbacks.
Sure.
And that's the difference. You know,
Yep.
it's the same concept in a lot of leagues where it's like, yeah, home court advantage means a lot, except if I have the best player, it doesn't matter.
Right.
You know,
The best
like,
player can play anywhere.
Yeah, he can play anywhere. So,
Yep.
I mean, we talked about the statistic of Mahomes versus Allen.
Yep.
You know, how that Allen is now 5-0 against Mahomes in the regular season. Well, Allen is 1-4 against Mahomes in the postseason. So,
There you go.
You know, if he's got to go into Buffalo, he's proven he can do it
Yep.
in the postseason and even at home. So, nonetheless, it's going to be a great game to watch.
There it is.
Yeah.
Let's move into Sunday Night Football.
Yeah,
The Lions and Eagles.
This is a big one. This is a very, very big game.
This whole day has been a really,
Yes.
except for, so Spain will give you just a little, a little
Teaser.
warm up. You
Yeah.
don't have to get up and like have 10 cups of coffee to watch the game because
Right.
it's going to be meh.
Yeah.
Okay? We're just telling you.
Yep.
But then you have 2 back-to-back bangers right into the Sunday night game.
Yes.
Lions Eagles. Let's go.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one. I mean, obviously, you're going to have your really good 7-2 Eagles playing against, I believe, a 6-3 Lions, if I'm not mistaken. And it's going to be one of those that's going to just be that kind of grudge match.
Yep.
You got these 2 teams that are, obviously very legitimate Super Bowl contenders. They've played a lot of football this last couple of years. I mean, just they've gone deep into playoffs. They've won a lot of games. I don't really know how to predict this matchup. That after watching this last game for the Eagles, they really looked like lackluster on offense. I mean, scoring 10 points. Obviously, Green Bay is a good defense, but I think what you expect in this matchup is you see a lot of passing volume actually out of Jalen Hurts. I think you see a lot of passing here because Detroit's pretty good in the front 7,
Sure.
but their secondary is a little banged up.
Yep.
So I do like a lot. I love Devontae Smith in this matchup. A.J. Brown, at some point, you'd think with the talent, he'd figure it out.
Yeah.
I mean, he is a good athlete, but clearly he's not producing.
Right.
And then on the other side, they can beat you in so many different ways.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's what makes the Lions so tough to stop.
They're sneaky.
I mean, you got Jahmyr Gibbs can have a game like he just had where he has, a ton of rushing yards. He just dominates the touches. But then you have a game that, like, potentially this one where you could see guys like Sam Laporta, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jamison Williams. I like Jamison Williams in this matchup. Big play guy. Those are the guys in these close matchups that, elevate your team to victory. Right. I kind of like the Lions getting the win on the road. I think I'm going to have to. Like, I mean, barring any injuries, going into the weekend with guys sitting out or something, I like the Lions in this one. Yeah, I don't know why. I think Dan Campbell brings that kind of energy that, most coaches don't bring in terms of a big matchup on the road.
Yep.
That, like, Jared Goff's proven that he can win these games. And I do think that the Lions shock some people, and they could actually beat these guys pretty handily if I'm not wrong. It could be one of those that you could see a drubbing, which is crazy to say. Could be wrong. I absolutely could be wrong. I'm not always right, but I do think the Lions could shock some people here.
I'm excited to see how that turns out.
Yeah, so that'd be a good one to tune into nonetheless.
Monday Night Football.
Yeah.
Cowboys and Raiders.
Yeah, maybe not the most exciting matchup.
My announcement for Monday Night Football was probably more exciting.
Yes, than the game's going to be, yeah. Obviously the Raiders are going to be hosting the Cowboys. 2 teams coming off some tough losses.
Yep.
Again, I mean, they're hoping to right the ship. I mean, that's all you can do in football. And obviously the Cowboys coming off a bye, they're going to have plenty of time to rest here. This is one that the Cowboys absolutely must win.
Yeah.
I mean, this is at this point in the season, if they actually want a legitimate chance to make it as a wild card team with how good the NFC is from top to bottom, this is a must win. You lose, the season's over.
Right.
This you might as well chalk it up. You're paying Dak $60 million, CD $34 million to not win. So you better figure this one out. Feed your ball carriers. Feed your weapons. Like, get them involved and just absolutely going. They should smoke them.
Yeah.
They should smoke the Raiders.
Right.
They have the offense to smoke the Raiders. Can the defense do enough to stop the Raiders' offense so that they do smoke them and it's not a close game? Because this offense for the Cowboys is elite.
Yeah.
It's special to watch when they're firing on all cylinders.
But it's a 2 step forward, 1 step back
Exactly.
type of a thing.
Yeah. It just so we'll see. I do think the Cowboys do get this win, but it should probably be a lot more than what they end up winning by, I think, is what my prediction is.
Damn.
But yeah, that's kind of the forecast of what to look out for this next week.
That's what's coming up, baby.
Yeah.
And before we get into our fantasy outlook,
Yes.
we've got a little bit of a spirit here.
Yeah.
Like we talked about in the beginning, this is the new Jack Daniels single barrel, heritage barrel, toasted barrel. A lot of barrel
Yeah.
going on there. This is a new offering. It actually was released a few years ago as one of their limited releases.
Yep.
And now they're bringing it back as a more shelf-stable release. Eventually.
In the long run,
Yeah.
yes.
Like many new releases, they're not shelf-stable right out of the gate. Something new. They're trying to make sure they keep up with current product and release the new one.
Plus, it's on a state-by-state basis, too.
Also true.
Some places get more than others.
So, this guy's coming in at,
100 proof.
Yeah, 100 proof.
Yeah.
I've had it, and I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
Like we talked about in last week's episode with the Woodford Reserve,
Yep.
This is a banger at a banger price.
Yeah, it's a good deal. I think when they do these limited releases for Jack, there's obviously been a lot more of them in recent memory than there was in the past.
Oh, for sure.
You know, obviously you had the Jack 10, Jack 12, and Jack 14 releases.
Yep.
Coy Hill, is another one, obviously.
Tanyard Hill.
Tanyard Hill. Yep. So, I mean, which will be around the corner.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for that one too.
Yeah.
But either way, it's this is one that should be on your shelf, hopefully between 70 to 80, at most 85, $90.
Yep.
If it's more than that, it's a little priced high, but nonetheless, it should be one that should be more available as it progresses, because Jack is of one of the few distilleries that is massive and they are growing.
Huge.
They are huge. We toured it this past fall or past spring, and it was beautiful. And we only saw like 4%.
Yeah.
They got rick houses for days up in that place. So
There's all black.
yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
They're all painted black, which is just ominous and crazy looking when you see them all like. So Jim Beam has the same thing where they're all black, or a lot of them are black. Some of them are black, some of them are white.
Yep.
But wow.
And they're all hill based.
Yep.
And
So then at like dusk, you see all these black buildings just silhouetted throughout all the hills.
And the one thing to note on this too is that we did find out that obviously there will be a barrel by barrel basis on this, because as you know, obviously there's only so many bottles per barrel.
Right.
So if it's something where you come across one barrel and then they change to another one, that would be something to note. You might like one profile better than the other. I mean, that's just variability as in any release.
But they do try to keep the profile relatively the same.
Yep.
But like he's saying, single barrels are single barrels. You're going to get some different nuances from barrel to barrel, but they try to keep the profile relatively the same. But yeah, whatever barrel this one came from, tastes phenomenal.
Yeah, it's delicious. It's got all those things you want from almost like a traditional bourbon, not necessarily just a Tennessee bourbon with all that toast and oak.
Right.
But yeah, it's easy sipper, 100 proof. It lingers for a long time, which is nice when it's a complex whiskey that does that.
That's what's nice about Jack Daniel's processes. They got that charcoal mellowing in the beginning to kind of round the edges off and make it a little bit more soft and subtle when you're sipping something like this. Now, the toasting process is different than the charring process. So a barrel, when it's charred, is in direct contact with the flame and is basically lighting the wood on fire in a way.
Yeah, and it's a cool process to watch. Look that one up to see, too.
So cool. And then a toasting process is more a stave being put in an oven.
Yes.
And baked, basically. So that's a toasting process versus a char process. So the barrel is charred and then emptied into a toasted barrel. And that's what gives it a different type of flavor than just your regular Jack Daniel's.
Correct. And
coming out of a barrel.
Whereas, as he had mentioned, the staves being like the baked process, that's why you have the variability of stave flavor profiles at a lot of places. So like it's a lot easier to manipulate the flavor profile baking it versus it's a very distinctive char flavor. I mean, it's not there's not a ton of variability you can do in regards to the char other than changing the wood.
Yep.
So this is why it's very distinctively Jack Daniel's. That mellowing that we talked about is very like, that's Jack.
Yep. But yeah, like he said, this one has those really nice Kentucky bourbon notes and feel. The mouthfeel is there, all the caramel and the almost like a honey I'm getting too.
Yep.
Super sweet.
Yep.
Not like I'm drinking honey, but
just in the mid palate.
In
the mid palate. In the mid palate, there's that hint of like almost like a sweetness / honey, like almost like just a drop. But then it kind of rounds back out to your
Yeah.
that oaky finish.
Yep, it's got that oak, that toasted oak kind of
Yep.
finish on the end. The finish is nice. It's got a nice, in this case, Tennessee hug.
Yep.
So it comes down the back of the palate into your chest, just warms you right up.
Yep.
It's a good one. This
Yeah.
one's one to definitely keep an eye out for if you can find it. If you're into sipping on the Tennessee whiskey, this is one to grab for sure for your weekend sports watching extravaganza.
I agree.
Let's hit up that fantasy football.
Yeah. I mean,
As the season winds down, it gets a little bit harder for us to kind of be like, these are the whatevers to be watching for.
yeah.
So it's just kind of like players that we see that are kind of popping off, or players that we see that are obviously injured, taken
Yep.
out, or on the way down. It's like,
Yep.
that's all we can really do.
Yep.
Everybody's team is obviously going to be different, and people are going to be trading for different reasons and in different ways. The preseason and the beginning of the season are really where we could help you shine.
Yep.
And now we're just going to like call out some players that
Yeah.
are good or on their way down, or
Yep. Or even just guys like the highlight. I mean, well, first of all, let's start here. We have the Saints and Colts are on a bye.
yep.
For fantasy, that's a big deal, obviously. So I've looked at a couple of my matchups. I do play the team that has Jonathan Taylor in a couple leagues, which is nice. Whenever you play the team that's without the best player in fantasy football.
Yep.
So obviously monitor those things, and the Saints don't have a ton of weapons. Obviously, you got Kamara and probably Chris Olave.
Yep.
So just monitor your lineups. Tyler Warren's been special tight end for the Colts this year. He's a plug and play guy. So you have to, if you're looking for a tight end, a weekly spot start guy, if available in any of your leagues, I'm a big believer in Cade Otton. He's been really good this year for Tampa Bay, and he's kind of taken off in terms of the target volume. Otherwise, like a guy like Theo Johnson for the Giants, he's a very good target if you're looking for like a tight end to go after. Otherwise, if you need some receiver replacements, a guy like Tez Johnson for Tampa Bay is a great option. He's available. A lot of guys gave up on this guy, Jerry Jeudy, after the pre-draft process.
Yeah.
And he had a big week this past week for Cleveland. And if he's just sitting there on your waivers, and you're a team that could use a crazy splash throw. I mean, he is an elite receiver. Went to a great school, and
What school?
Alabama.
No. Okay. If
yeah.
anybody didn't see that coming.
But nonetheless, he's their wide receiver one. They're paying him a lot of money.
You were talking about him preseason.
Yeah, I would talk about him.
He's a sleeper.
Yeah, he was a sleeper preseason, and I mean, I just think that the issue is they've had so much variability in what that offense looks
Right.
like. They obviously switched quarterbacks from Joe Flacco, then to Dylan Gabriel. They went to a run-heavy scheme.
Yep.
This past week, they featured him in the passing game, and that helped them move the ball really well. So if he's still sitting there somehow, it's very possible. In a couple of my leagues, he's on waivers. It's just one of those things that people lose confidence in guys.
Snag him
Up. He could be a spot start for you. Running backs. He had a big week this week. Woody Marks. I was stunned. I kind of predicted him as a potential sit.
Let's
Against
go, Woody.
Jacksonville. He's getting like 15 points in the 3 out of the last 4 games. He's kind of taken over that backfield, and he's going to be a guy that as the season progresses, he could be a guy that you could plug in as your like flex guy or your bye week filler. Nonetheless, he's a good option, and then we'll see. There's some other options there at running back, but at quarterback, I like Jacoby Brissett.
There we go.
Jacoby Brissett's kind of a guy that, we know he's going to be the quarterback for at least the next 3 weeks.
Yep.
Even in a game that they were losing, he scored 20 fantasy points. They got scrubbed.
There you go.
And he had 2 fumbles.
Yeah.
So he could have easily had 24 fantasy points on a day where they,
Right.
looked like crap. So fantasy and reality are totally different things.
Oh, for
so when
sure.
we talk fantasy, it's all about the numbers. In Brissett, Marcus Mariota is another guy. We know he's the quarterback going forward for them. He's playing Miami, who's not the best defense, but they look good against Josh Allen this last week.
Yeah.
So, but
That's
that's
true.
an option. But nonetheless, I think those are guys you could target in your week-to-week matchups, depending on your league. And obviously, there's going to be more guys out there, but every league varies. So those are guys I'd look at for sure.
There you go.
Yeah.
Can't beat that.
Yeah.
Let us know if any questions. We'll do our best to get back to them in the comments below. Who are you looking at trading? Who are you looking at switching out? Who are you looking at sitting? Who are you looking at starting? Let us know. Ask the question.
Yeah.
We can help out where we can.
Yep, those playoff matchups are really important. So we'd like to help you out as best we can. Obviously, start prepping on your own side.
Yep.
If you're a playoff team, you probably know it if you can look at your roster
Right.
and where you're at in the standings. And
I'll tell you right now, I'm not.
fair
I'm far
enough.
from
Fair
playoff
enough.
team.
Yeah,
This
and-
guy over here, playoff team.
Yeah,
okay?
fair enough. Fair enough. I mean, it just varies. I mean, sometimes you can get lucky in fantasy football, and that's the key. You know, sometimes it's better be lucky than good.
That's true.
And so, you know, when you're picking guys, you can be like, you're sitting there on draft day, and you're like, do I take this guy? Do I take this guy? And then you take the one, and then the other guy goes down with a torn ACL.
Yep.
You know, and so or whatever. You know, so that's the tough part about fantasy football, man.
Tough.
I mean, you were sitting there, and you had the option. Do I take AJ Brown or Jonathan Taylor? And you went with AJ Brown.
You'd hit.
Hey, you know what I mean? You could have just as easily had Puka Nacua and Jonathan Taylor. Instead, you had Malik Neighbors and AJ Brown. Ouch.
That was luck. That was all luck.
Yeah,
right
it was
there.
all luck.
That was luck. So there you have it.
Yep.
That's fantasy for this week. Again, let us know what your thoughts are in the comments below. But all these teams in the NFL need some elite players to be groomed and brought up, and that's why we talk about the Feeder League, NCAA football Friday night. Our very own Golden Gophers.
Yeah. Going on the road against number 7 Oregon. This is a potential lopsided affair.
Yeah.
But it's one to watch out for nonetheless, because honestly, Friday night, not a lot going on. You know, there's obviously, we're going to be honest, there's a lot of NBA games. There's a lot going on, a lot of NHL.
Yeah.
But if you're on the football side anyway, Oregon might not be, in my opinion, the 7th best team in the country. It's just one of those things. It's that they've been there, done that in the past, that they're, you know, elevated there. Obviously, this past year, they were number 1 going into the college football playoff, you know, with Dylan Gabriel, that undefeated Oregon team. So we'll see. This quarterback, Dante Moore, is special. Obviously, they are way better than the Gophers on paper. So it's not one I'm predicting upset here, but it could be a closer game than we might expect.
Sure.
But nonetheless, it'll be a good one to watch on Friday night.
There you go. And I'm not sure if anybody knows this. If you don't know it, you haven't been watching any of the videos that we've been putting out. Somebody in this room really likes Alabama. I don't dislike them.
Yeah.
But there's someone that likes them way
maybe.
more.
Yeah.
It's this.
Yeah,
It's this guy. Sorry,
Yeah,
it's my co-host over here.
Yeah.
He loves Alabama.
Yeah, I do. They're a good team. I obviously been a fan for a very long time, and they by far have had the hardest schedule in football this year in college. They have another top-ranked matchup against number 11 Oklahoma. Just actually insane. That is going to be their 5th matchup this year against top 16 ranked teams.
Another great game to watch.
Oh, I mean, yeah. I mean, this is, even if you're not an Alabama fan or you're not along the lines of you want to see them win, this is just going to be a great SEC matchup in general.
Yep.
You know, you got 2 teams that are right on the cusp. I believe when they do the college football rankings, we will see that Oklahoma is going to probably sneak in there with a couple of these past losses and stuff like that. So this is going to be 2 teams that are, you know, fighting for the playoff seeding and positioning, and it's going to be a big one. You know, Bama as you know, proven that they can win these big games, but Oklahoma's a different team. That Oklahoma defense is really good. I do like their defense a lot, and they could put up some fits for Bama, but we'll see. The weapons on Alabama this year just unmatched. So it's going to be a fun one to watch nonetheless, and it'll definitely be one I, for sure, will definitely be tuned into.
Sick.
Yeah. Well, we got 2 more matchups we want to kind of talk about, highlight on the slate here. I got number 23rd ranked Pittsburgh host number 9 Notre Dame. This is just one of those that, you know, Pittsburgh has a chance, you know, if they shock the world here and pull off the victory, they could sneak their way into that top 12, and I just wanted to address that. Obviously, Notre Dame has looked really good the last 4 weeks. Jeremiah Love has been special. He's rumored in a lot of the ESPN and NFL mock drafts as being a guy that the Vikings would target in the first round.
Dang.
You know, so, you know, us homers here in Minnesota, if you're, you know, want to watch potentially maybe a future first-round pick running back for your team, I mean, that is what we're lacking, is an elite run game. You know, and Aaron Jones is not the answer.
Nope.
And so either way, this will be a fun one to watch. I think Notre Dame should get the win, but we just want to highlight it just in case that potential upset is there.
Right.
You know?
What about Georgia? They've been a little shaky. Are they still worthy of that fifth round ranking? Or that 5th rank?
I still don't believe in them. And I mean, obviously I'm biased because that's probably my least favorite team in college football, but this is going to be a week that tests that. Yeah. You know, they're taking on 10th ranked Texas, you know, and Texas and them have played some close games in the past. You know, Georgia's won some, Texas has won some. You know, this is slowly becoming one of those secondary rivalry games. You know, like these teams have played a lot in lately. They played a lot recently. You know, and with Texas moving into the SEC, they're going to play a lot more going forward. This is kind of that two-headed matchup. You have this like elite quarterback prospect in Arch Manning, you
Sure.
know, supposedly,
Yep.
you know, with maybe not the best supporting cast. And then you have like this, you know, Gunnar Stockton, who's not necessarily this elite prospect, but he's proven that he can come back in the clutch in these
Yeah.
close games. So I mean, obviously I'm going to be tuned in. I think Texas gets the win here. I just have zero faith in this Georgia team. It's just not the same team that we've
Sure.
seen in the past. And we've watched it and we've seen it. I mean, they almost lost to Florida.
Yeah.
That team stinks. I mean, they are not good. I mean, I think they're
Yeah.
like might be 2 or 3-6 on the year. Like they're awful.
Right.
Yeah, I know they're not a good team.
Yep.
So to almost lose to a team like that, I mean, obviously we'll see what happens. I mean, Georgia's one of those teams that can just flip the switch and they can figure it out sometimes. So nonetheless, it'll be a great game to watch.
There you have it.
So yeah.
Like we said, there's a lot going on,
Yep.
even on a Friday night.
Yes.
The NBA proves that here.
Yes. So let's just talk about it. Obviously, we've highlighted it in the past. You probably saw in our last video, we showed you the NBA Cup court.
Yep.
But this is on Friday night. You have another set of NBA Cup matchups.
Wonder what the color's going to be.
Well, it depends. I'm gonna go with green.
Green?
Yeah,
Alright.
I think that it's one set court, but
Oh, really?
I do think for each team, you know
Got-
what I mean.
oh,
You know what I mean.
By team.
Yeah, by team.
Got it,
you
got
know
it,
what I
got
mean.
it.
So like so we like host the Kings.
Yep.
You know,
so it'll be
if-
green again.
It'll be the green again. So I'm assuming I'll probably be wearing the
That'd be
Randall jersey.
That'd be freaking expensive to change the color for.
Yeah.
So like the Timberwolves would be green.
Yes.
If the cup is somewhere else, it might be.
Well, whatever team. So like the Kings, I know they did a gray floor.
Okay,
You know,
sure.
like Pistons are like the blue.
Got it.
You know, stuff like that. It just depends on
Yeah.
where you're at or what your team colors are.
right.
But yeah, I'm gonna assume we'll be wearing our element jerseys and
Well, that's gonna be a tough
Yeah.
game to watch. If you haven't seen what the court looks like, check out our last podcast.
video. Yeah, but anyway, you got the Timberwolves hosting the Kings, which is gonna be a big game because the Timberwolves have started off hot in the Cup, and then you got the Pistons.
Yep.
Hosting the 76ers and two teams that have shocked people early part of the season. You know, the Sixers are finally starting to see what their team looks like with VJ Edgecombe, Tyrese Maxey,
Sure.
you know, guys that are kind of stepping up big this year.
Yep.
And Kelly Oubre's played phenomenal, and Embiid's only getting healthier. You know, if Embiid gets back to that, 35, 40 minutes a game guy,
Watch out.
I mean, he didn't win an MVP because he's bad.
Right.
You know what I mean? He's a very good player. I mean, his issue has just been, can he stay healthy?
Yep.
Is he going to be healthy enough to be a contributor?
Right.
You know, he's averaging like 20 to 24 points a game, playing like 20 minutes. You know,
That's not bad.
I mean, wait till he starts playing like 30, 35.
Right.
I mean, he's an elite scorer. So that'll be a good one to watch. And then obviously the Spurs host the Warriors. That's going to be phenomenal.
Spurs are just.
Dude,
Come
I
on.
love that team, man.
So
I love
good.
that team. They remind me seriously of a young OKC.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, you look at the way that it's formulated. You got Wembanyama's your Chet Holmgren. You know, you got your De'Aaron Fox's your SGA.
Right.
You got Stephen Castle's kind of like your hybrid, like Caruso, Joe kind of guy. And then
Yep.
you got like guys like Harrison Barnes. You got, Devin Vassell, kind of your like J-Dubs. You know,
Yep.
like it just built the same way. I love it. I love that team.
Can't
It's
beat
so
it.
fun to watch. That'd be a great game. But yeah, that's kind of your Friday slate.
The Wolves are back to back.
They are back to back. They do play 2 in a row, and they're both at home. And this one I will be at, will not miss for sure. Timberwolves host the Nuggets.
The Nugs.
So this is always a must-watch game, even if you're not a Timberwolves fan. These teams have played a lot of basketball against
Yep.
each other these last 3 years. I can't wait for this game. The Jokic, the Ant, the drama. I mean, we just played them just recently. Obviously, we took a loss, but we also played without Ant.
Right.
You know, last time I checked, he's pretty good.
He's okay.
He's
yeah,
okay.
Yeah,
So,
I
mean,
he's a serviceable player.
yeah, he's serviceable. Top 10 in the NBA. So, nonetheless, that'll be a great one to watch. I can't wait for the atmosphere in that one. The building's going to
Right.
be rocking. It's going
Just
to be awesome.
electric.
So, that'll be a good one. Also on Saturday, you have the Milwaukee Bucks hosting the Lakers in a matchup of Giannis versus Luka.
Let's go.
So,
Another
I mean,
great game.
Yeah, another great game. So, I mean, the NBA is obviously, we'll see. There's great players on almost every team, and some games are going to be better than others. But whenever you see these like star-studded players matching up, it's always just a must-watch.
Right.
So, and then lastly, you got to transition into like your Sunday slates.
Sunday.
So you got the Celtics hosting the Clippers in the afternoon at TD Garden. Classic.
Really great spot.
That's one of those like arenas I would love at some point
Iconic.
to watch a game. You know,
Right.
I mean, I
I
watched
got to
so
see it
many.
from the outside,
There you go.
and it looked really cool.
Oh, I'm sure.
Like, just, I mean, obviously New York
Yeah.
baseline
Yes.
energy.
Yes.
Then to go to a court like that,
Yeah.
just, you got to imagine that place just
Yeah.
always rocking. It's just always at a 10, no matter
Yeah.
what game is being played in
Yeah.
there.
Some of the best arenas is at Madison Square Garden.
Yep.
You got TD Garden in Boston.
Yep.
I mean, you're gonna have. They're just nostalgia.
Yep.
You know, there's nothing better. I mean, I've been to Madison Square Garden. I got to watch that game. That was awesome. But either way, that'll be a good one on the Sunday. You'll also have the Rockets hosting the Magic. We just like to highlight the teams that are kind of going to be playoff, factors at the end of the season, and both these teams are going to be playoff teams, and so that'll be a good one to watch either way. Paulo Banchero is one of my favorite young players in the league to watch, but I also really really like Franz Wagner. He's German. He's a really special player. He's kind of flying under the radar for the Magic this year, and he's been fun to watch. And then Monday night, Timberwolves host the short-handed Dallas Mavericks.
Short-handed?
Yeah, they're really banged up. They're missing quite a few centers.
What a bummer.
This should be a game that hopefully you go in with the expectation you should win handily.
Right.
Hopefully get some of your starters some rest. That fourth quarter in games where you're smoking teams, you can get some backup guys in there. And then lastly, you also have the Bucks going on the road to take on the Cavs. This right now is, it's a couple of those powerhouse teams in the East to look out for, and you just kind of can't not highlight these two teams, just because they've been there so much the last couple of years.
Yep.
So it's just going to be a good one to watch, and it'll be a tight one down the stretch.
Let's get things a little chilly.
A little chilly,
Let's jump onto that sheet of ice for the NHL.
Let's do it. Yeah, we'll kind of run over a couple quick games here for you, just to kind of look out for. Obviously, we've seen some teams that have started off hotter than others, and on Thursday, you got the Panthers hosting the Capitals.
Boom.
Great games. Those are two great teams. The Panthers back-to-back champs. Capitals, one of my favorites to watch. And then you also have the Red Wings hosting the Ducks.
Also not a bad matchup.
Yeah, two teams that, have really started off hot this year. And so, something to tune into and give you something to watch on Thursday. And then Friday.
Friday. Like we said, a lot of games going on Friday.
Yeah, I mean, we could there's a lot. I mean, we're not even covering, we're covering 10% even. But on Friday, you have the Hurricanes hosting the Canucks.
Yep.
I just really like the structure and build of this Hurricanes team. I mean, we'll probably cover them a lot this year, just in general, just because I think they're a team to watch out for. But that would be a good one. They also follow that up by playing and hosting the Oilers on Saturday.
Oh wow.
Full Saturday slate of hockey. I have to just mention a few matchups. You got the Capitals hosting the Devils.
True.
And then you also have the Wild hosting the Ducks. Obviously our hometown Wild.
Yeah.
Playing a tough Ducks team.
Yep.
They've showed some resilience to start this year that they're maybe a team to watch out for.
No doubt.
So not only do you get on Sunday a game in Madrid.
Wow.
You also have the NHL Global Series in Sweden.
Sweden.
And you got the Pittsburgh Penguins that will take on the Predators in Sweden.
Go.
And that'll be that same start time here, so 8:30 Central. So you'll have two things you can watch.
That's got to be that's got to be quite a hype circumstance over there, because obviously hockey in
huge.
Northern Europe is massive.
Yeah. And so, the idea behind that is the NHL is trying to grow their sport.
Yeah.
Same as the NFL in terms of making it a global sport, not just the United States. And
everybody's kind of doing that. NBA did it, last 2 weeks ago, last week,
Mexico
or Mexico City.
Yep. And I believe there's a game later in France this year.
Oh, wow.
For the NBA, if I'm not mistaken. At least I know there was last year. Partly because of the Wemby influence.
Makes sense. Makes a lot of sense.
Trying to grow it. So, But either way, that'll be one to tune into. I love watching, just new stadiums, new arenas.
It's always fun.
Atmosphere's different. It's just totally a different vibe, so I can't beat it. And then also on Sunday, you'll have the Wild host the best in the league, the Knights.
Dun, dun, dun.
One of the best. Who
would have thought one of the best would be coming out of the hot state of Nevada?
Well, and being that they were an expansion team a couple years back, they went all the way to the Cup as an expansion team. So
that's crazy.
It's crazy. I mean, the NHL is weird.
But expansion teams get all the really good picks. So
in theory, yeah. So the way expansion teams work, if anybody doesn't know, is that generally speaking, every team gets to lock players that they're not available, and then the other players, then that expansion team gets to select from. And so you can get some really great players. One of them that's been phenomenal for them is a guy Well, we got now Jack Eichel. They made
Yep.
it in the trade. You know,
Yep.
there's some expansion guys. Their goalie, Adam Hill, was really good for a couple of years. So they've pieced some things together, but nonetheless, they've been a really fun team to watch, and they've been really good. So, yeah, that's kind of a way to look out for on the NHL side, at least this coming weekend.
That's everything.
Yeah, that's true. That's everything.
I mean, not everything.
Sure,
we didn't cover women's swimming in college or anything like that.
No
Not
matchups
sure where
to highlights.
Not sure where that's at
Yeah,
or
so-
what's going on there. So,
Yeah.
but covered the major stuff. A lot
Yeah.
of the big things going on this coming weekend that you should be tuned into if you want to watch something exciting
Yes.
or something potentially exciting. As we've seen, some games that we thought were going to be exciting maybe weren't quite as exciting as we thought, but that happens very seldom.
Yes.
Okay. We're on this. Don't worry about it.
For sure.
So, thanks so much for tuning into this episode. Really quick piece of housekeeping.
Yeah.
We're on a bye next week.
Yes, we are.
So, you won't see the two of us like this next week, but don't fret. We'll be back the following week. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Also, go over and check us out on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok,
Yeah.
X. Follow us there.
Yeah.
A lot of awesome content always coming out there. But until next time, have fun watching sports and drinking some spirits responsibly. Peace.